All right, Sarah, it's almost redundant to keep asking you this, but how impressive was LeBron James?
It was impressive. I think the big stat, which you said, Jenna, we saw at the bottom of the screen, the 12 points in the final 5 minutes. And we know that he's a closer, and he talked about the balance. When does he need to take over? When does he make sure to get other guys involved? For the Lakers, that's a work in progress. But they have been playing better. I think that it has helped them, not necessarily that Rajon Rondo has been out, but the fact that they've played at a slower pace. I think that benefits LeBron a little bit more, and I think some of these players are figuring out how to play at that pace. I think it's why their defense has been improved because of that. But LeBron has been, I mean, this is what we expect out of him. So to say impressed, you know, for better or worse, this is the type of performance you want to see out of him. I think what was most impressive to me was that first quarter, the start of the game.
Yes.
So how he closed out, the ball in his hands, you expect him to do a lot of isolation takeover. There was body movement. There was ball movement. There was a lot of sharing and unselfish play. And that's when Magic makes those comments about how they're going to play, that was a much better showing of the offense.
Yeah, and in covering the NBA, do you think that first quarter had anything to do with what was going on the game before that in Toronto when KD going off him and Kawhi? Because you're around NBA, you cover a team on a regular basis. Most of the games, the early games, they're watching. You know, they're watching those games if they're on the late. So you think LeBron, because he got off to a really aggressive start.
I think that plays a factor.
Okay.
I think LeBron's start was because he had 14 points against Denver, and they lost, and the team had. I think you tag those two things together, and LeBron came out with the level of focus that we often see when he knows he's ready to be efficient, he's ready to make a statement, and to me, I think both of those things were in play.
Yeah, the start that they got out to was impressive, seeing them be able to put up a 38-point quarter against the Pacers, but then they gave it all back, and I think that's in part because LeBron was trying to get other guys involved in that second and third quarter, and I think toward the end of the game, he realized, okay, this is a game where they're looking to me to close the show. This is not one of those where I can facilitate everybody else's greatness, kind of like what CC does here every morning. It wasn't one of those types of games. He needed to go out there and be a Aroldis Chapman and close the show. That's exactly what he did last night. It's not unusual for us to see a little bit of a learning curve for LeBron when he's trying to get acclimated to a new team. We've seen those teams struggle the first half of that respective season that he's come in. But with this Lakers team, I think there's a little added pressure just because there's so many young guys, Brandon Ingram and Hard and Ball. There are a lot of young guys that are trying to figure out who they are as players, let alone playing with the best player in the world. So I think this is a work in progress. But with LeBron James, you're always going to give yourself a chance to win night in, night out.
Without a doubt. And I think to your point with that, the team has been inconsistent, but young players are often inconsistent. I mean, look at Josh Hart. Josh Hart finally looked back to himself. I think he was having some ankle issues, so he's getting healthier again. But you're going to get inconsistencies individually from players as they try to figure it out with LeBron. And LeBron was even asked after the game, do you think about that? He said, I'm always thinking about that. I'm always thinking about how to best get guys involved. So I think it's an acclimation process on both sides. I thought Jenna's the facilitator that makes everyone better.
She is, but I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, so I just sit back and let everyone else have the glory. And then Nick shows up. And feels like it's him. Hey, I have a question. Magic Johnson came out and made a couple interesting comments. Says he doesn't want the Lakers to overuse LeBron James the way he was overused in Cleveland, perhaps. Is Magic right? Are they playing with how much they're going to use LeBron James in this Lakers lineup? Yeah,
there's one reason why LeBron and Magic were able to get on the same page, and it had to do with what the team was going to look like and how they planned on using them. There had to be a lot of trust there. That's why Magic Johnson, when free agency opened, Magic Johnson was sitting outside of LeBron's house, ready to be able to have these types of conversations. So we don't have to have these conversations during the season. So even if the Lakers, through 20 games, hadn't won as many games, that's fine, as long as they stay on course, because what you don't want to do, and I used to tell Little League dads this, don't teach your son how to throw no curveball. What you want to get, a couple more wins? A couple more wins as a 12-year-old? How's that going to help him later on? Now, if the Lakers, when it's championship time, it is not 2018, not 2018. 2019. 2020 and 21, if LeBron James plays 38 minutes, how good will he be? Will he be the best player when it's time to be able to try to compete for a championship? So it's great to see that they're on the same page when they started free agency. This is what we're going to do moving forward. Yes, it's nice to see that you have that moving forward because that's the only way the Lakers are going to be successful.
And his minutes are down. So I think, his usage rate, I think, is right around the eighth in the league. You're going to expect that. But his minutes are down.
He's averaging just under 35 a game.
Yeah, and I think they're utilizing him in the right way. And so I think that, give credit to Luke Walton. I think there's moments in games where you may have an instinct. I want to put him in. I want to put him in to win. But I think he's done a fine job. And the West is 1 through 14 is a difference of 5.5 games. So they are still in a good position. They're right in the mix, but I think they're playing it out with good balance.
Is this where you thought they'd be about 20 games in?
Especially with the way that they started. Yeah, I think they should feel good about where they're at. They're, 12-9 or right around there. So yes. I think they should feel very good about where they're at, especially given the fact that they've struggled a bit. And
missing Rondo missing that time.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they've got through some waves of some challenges. And, yeah, I think they should feel very solid about their position.
And, Sarah, you brought up Luke Walton. We got to give him a special shout-out, wearing the jacket and the tribute to Craig Sager,
yes.
The NBA honoring Craig Sager last night and continuing into tonight.
So Craig Sager-inspired outfits, but Luke Walton did it right.
Tip of the cap to Luke Walton. He did it the right way.
Yeah, a number of Nerf had a great outfit on, had blue on with the black there in Toronto's
yeah, he was
game.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he was definitely fell asleep at the wheel. His dress was appropriate.
Does anyone have some good outfits for me tonight?
Yeah, we have something for you. Christine is going to outfit you after the show. You have a fitting at 9:45 over next door.
Bet you didn't even know that.
See how CC takes care of everything? That's why I say he's the facilitator.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.